A very good afternoon and welcome to the Wednesday, the 11th of June edition of Vogan's European Outlook. This is the latest visible satellite imagery at the time of recording, around 4:45 on this Wednesday, and we've got lots of sunshine across much of France, Low Countries, even Germany, and even across parts of the UK, albeit we do have a mix of cloud here and there, but we are going to start to see things changing quite dramatically. Area of low pressure spinning just off the Iberian Peninsula. We've seen some very lively thunderstorms across parts of Iberia, as well as out over the open Atlantic as well through the course of last night and today. Things will get more lively as an arm, the first boundary runs northwards, associated with this area of low pressure. We're also dragging in increasingly warmer and more humid air at the surface, which means that we are going to really start to kind of bubble the atmosphere up from below. But these triggers within the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere is going to really create some very explosive thunderstorms, I think, generating some localized flash flooding, concerns over 25 to 50 millimeters of rainfall within the space of a few hours across some areas of particularly the south and the western areas of the British Isles. But this kind of complex interaction between warm and humid and areas of low pressure is essentially kind of keeping a lid on the potential amount of warmth that we could see at the surface due to the presence of this area of low pressure, and also the thunderstorms that do erupt within the atmosphere can create some downdrafts and outflow boundaries that provide some cooling to take place. But it looks as if we are going to be around about the 29, possibly the 30 Celsius mark during the course of Friday. And then we will start to see things trimming back once again. But I wanted to show you this here. First of all, this is an interesting visible satellite from this morning over France, showing the Canadian wildfire smoke that has really enveloped the majority of mainland France, and even some of that smoke, I believe, has been kind of transferring down towards lower altitudes within the atmosphere. So I don't know if it's having any health impacts in terms of poor air quality. I'm not entirely sure about that, but nevertheless, Canadian wildfire smoke has been the story for a good week or so now across much of Western Europe due to the jet stream transferring that smoke across the Atlantic. Another interesting factor is that we are going from dealing with wildfire smoke to potential Saharan dust. As this area of low pressure then kind of lifts northwards, it's going to be dragging in some of that hot air off the Sahara Desert and importing some Saharan dust. And with those thunderstorms, with the downpours, we may see some dusty composites over our cars through the course of late this week and into the weekend. So something worth kind of keeping an eye on. But an interesting situation here developing, cooler area of low pressure moving in off the Atlantic. This is a nice graphic here shared by Christian on Twitter, showing that in the next few days, in particular, atmospheric pressure will establish with the name Spanish plume. Spanish plume is a weather system in which a plume of warm air moves from the Iberian Plateau, so over the high mountains of central Iberia. That then is a very warm, dry air mass, in fact, that is going to kind of lift northwards. We've got the upper level flow coming in from a southwesterly direction. We've got low level flow associated with the actually lower pressure associated with the heating over the Iberian Peninsula. It forces the pressure to fall over the interior of Iberia. So we've got low level winds circulating at the surface, but we've got upper level winds associated with that area of low pressure out over the Atlantic and moving towards the Iberian Peninsula with an associated cold front. That is creating the environment for very, very energetic, high energy thunderstorms. And that was the case, sorry. Dealing with a little bit of a cold. It's kind of that tickly, dry cough, which is always rather irritating. But it's a very nice graphic here showing the dynamics that go into this kind of Spanish plume idea. If we move on to the next graphic here, you can see that warm conveyor belt, as we see the frontal system kind of get forced northwards because of the presence of higher pressure over Western Europe. We've got this kind of ribbon of very warm, humid air that is kind of lifting north. We've also got a dry intrusion on the backside of that low, cooler, fresher conditions that are moving into Iberia. So obviously you've got this clash of air mass causing the blow up of strong convection, thunderstorms easily exceeding 30,000 feet, dropping tremendous amounts of rainfall, large hail, gusty winds. But all that energy is then getting forced north because of that high to the east over the interior of Europe here. That's going to force this area of low pressure to then move up towards the UK. All the while we're increasing the level of warmth through the column, and what is going to happen is we're going to see a series of convective bands, so to speak, lifting north. One during the course of tonight and through tomorrow. Where we've got the sunshine, we're going to see the temperatures rising into the upper 20s, I think, but there is going to be quite a large area of cloud cover and convective activity during the course of tomorrow, which will actually slightly suppress the temperatures. That system then moves northwards, opens the door to more in the way of sunshine through the Friday time period. All the while, we've actually increased the temperature at the 5,000 foot level to the upper teens. So you're going to see even warmer temperatures during the course of Friday, but the next band moves associated with that area of low pressure moves northwards. It has an even richer environment, and therefore we have a greater chance of seeing an even stronger thunderstorm potential over the UK, over Ireland as well, and obviously over France during the course of Friday and into the early hours of Saturday morning here. So it's kind of two bands of energy lifting northwards, and all the while these bands are kind of transporting some of this heat all the way up from North Africa and Iberia up into the UK and Ireland here. So basically, what is the Spanish plume? According to this, it's actually I don't know where the source of this is, but cool Atlantic air moves towards Britain, kinking the jet, pushes the cooler air south across the Atlantic. This in turn pushes warm, humid air from Iberia towards the UK, forming a Spanish plume. Warm plume as air hits the cold front and rises vigorously, bringing hot, humid weather and thunderstorm activity. It's actually from the Met Office, sorry. I didn't realise that until now. So yes, we've got a very energetic situation developing here, excuse me. You can see here, this is the current temperatures. Notice the temperatures have been somewhat subdued in recent days because of the convection, the thunderstorm activity over Iberia. Remember, we did see 42.9, I think it was. So we've seen close to 43 Celsius over south central Spain back a couple of days ago. Then this energy and area of low pressure moved in. We've seen the thunderstorm activity taking place, and we've seen the temperatures trimmed back somewhat. Still got a lot of warm air over Iberia, of course, but that is getting somewhat suppressed because of the thunderstorm activity. If we look at the latest lightning activity across the southwest of Europe, lots of lightning to speak about. And we've seen a tremendous cluster of thunderstorms over the far northwest of Portugal and Spain, and also offshore late last night. In fact, if you look at the visible satellite imagery, you can see this arm, this frontal zone here, that was positioned over the northwest corner of Iberia late last night, generating all the showers and thunderstorms. Now what we've got is that feature is now running pushing northeast over Biscay, and through the course of tomorrow we are likely to see, while today we've got temperatures into the middle 30s across southwestern portions of interior France, this energy is going to run into that region. We're going to see the temperatures that we're talking about, 23, 24, 25 across the south northwest of Iberia. That will be the case probably this time tomorrow. Temperatures will be much lower than what they currently are, but it's because ahead of the boundary we've got plenty of sunshine and temperatures are rising quite substantially. Look at this here, we've got 36.2 Celsius across south central portions of France, and all this warm air continues to get lifted northwards. Now, as that energy runs north, we're going to increase the CAPE, which is a convective available potential energy. Back to the here now, there's that little circulation here off the Iberian Peninsula. Lots of enhanced CAPE over Iberia. Continue to play through this. Remember, we've got a lot of strong heating at the surface over France. So I would expect to see some pretty explosive thunderstorms to take place probably overnight tonight and then into tomorrow. And then all that energy runs northwards here into the northwest of France through the course of tomorrow afternoon. Where we've got the sunshine, we are going to see the temperatures probably into the upper 20s across the UK. Again, it depends on cloud cover versus sunshine. But then as we move, you notice here that we've got this first band moving northeastwards. Initially, parts of southern and southwestern Ireland, equally for England and Wales here in the southwest. That band then moves northeastwards. Now we don't have a tremendous amount of rich convective potential at this stage with this initial band moving through during the course of tomorrow, but it's as we move into the day on Friday, we've got even warmer air, more juicier air in place, and then this next feature then runs into that more convective potential, and we're increasing the energy levels within the atmosphere, and therefore the downpours are going to be probably much more significant. Once this all lifts northwards, we're going to then wrap in some fresher Atlantic air, and that will allow the temperatures to drop off. Now, if we look at the 850 temperatures here, so this was off the ARPEG model, by the way. Let's have a quick look at the European model here, the ECMWF, and you can see, go back to the current situation, area of low pressure here that is sending an arm, a frontal system through. That is going to continue to lift northwards during the course of tomorrow. Where you've got the sunshine, you've got the warm conditions. Also notice the squeezing isobars here, indicating that with the presence of that low to the west and the high to the east, and actually some reasonably settled air, more stable air, we're going to see some very gusty conditions here out of the south-southeast, anywhere from southeastern England right the way up the eastern side of the British Isles here, including northern portions of Scotland as well. So we could have 25 to 35 mile per hour winds coming in from a south to southeasterly direction ahead of that frontal zone. Wouldn't be surprised as well, by the way, if we get some warm air crossing over the Pennines, even some of the Scottish mountains as well. So could see some temperatures warmer than what is forecast because of some element of Föhn effect here as these winds sweep across some of the higher terrain of eastern England and Scotland. Downstream of that, with the help of sunshine, we could see temperatures into the upper 20s, even across parts of Scotland, believe it or not, during the course of tomorrow. Again, it depends on cloud cover as well. So this first arm is lifted northwards here. We then see a little bit of a break in between. Warmer air Thursday into Friday is lifting into the UK, and then we've got this next feature then erupts, moves northwards over the British Isles here, could dump a tremendous amount of rain in a very short space of time. Again, it's hit and miss. Some places will get it, some places will. It could be within the space of just a few miles. You could be talking about flash flooding versus completely dry, bone dry conditions. That's the nature of this kind of weather at this time of the year. But we need to watch out for some very significant thunderstorms tomorrow, yes, but even more so Friday and into Friday evening. And eventually that will all lift northwards, and we will start to get a little bit of a break in between. We've got higher pressure building in, settles things down. We do have a little bit of shower activity, more associated with low pressure during the course of later Sunday. But you see here as we play through, that high then kind of lifts into the UK, settling things down. We do have weather systems maybe flirting with the northwest of the British Isles, but generally speaking, it is a much more settled picture. And then look at this here, the middle portions of next week, we've got high pressure pretty much over the UK. And generally speaking, that theme will continue for the UK and northwestern Europe through a good chunk of the rest of this month. I think higher pressure is going to become more established. If you look at the CFSV2, upper level pressure pattern here. This is the 500s. You can see here we've got very strong high pressure centered over France over the next 7 days here. Low pressure well out over the Atlantic, another low over Western Russia. Into week 2, which is the period between the 18th and the 25th, we've got high pressure pretty much established over Ireland, as you can see here, shielding us mainly from nasty, unsettled conditions. Even into the latter stages of the month, it looks as if the CFSV2 has higher pressure dominating the majority of Western Europe. In terms of rainfall, yes, we're going to see lots of rain over the next few days. Where you get those thunderstorms, obviously where you don't, you're not going to see as much in the way of rainfall. But anywhere is really susceptible to significant downpours over the next 48 to 48 hours, roughly, you would say. But this is the difference here. Wetter than average upcoming 7 days, especially Scotland, western fringes of the UK and Ireland, as well as Northern Ireland. Into week 2, we dramatically flipped to drier than average. Week 3, drier than average. Even into week 4, which is the first week of June, nearly the first 10 days, in fact, of July, we've got drier than average conditions shown by the model. Now, one of the reasons why the high may linger is the fact that the MJO is rotating back towards the Indian Ocean. We may start to see the Indian monsoon really start to get going again after quite a substantial decrease in thunderstorm activity over India. We're seeing the MJO moving back towards the Indian subcontinent, but it also may start to collapse. The influence may start to fade with regards to the Magellan Oscillation, and in turn, we may actually kind of get stuck in a higher pressure pattern as we move towards the latter half of June and into the month of July as well, which is rather interesting. Looking at the temperature anomalies then of the CFSV2, you can see here week 1, this is obviously out to the 18th of June, warmer than average across the UK and Ireland. Into week 2, warmer than average with a flirt with something cooler further north here, but generally warmer than average conditions. Into week 3, warmer than average. Week 4, warmer than average as well. So you get the general idea. Let's have a quick look at the GFS ensemble, and we can have a look at this. Now it's currently updating, should I say. So we'll go to the 6Z run. Let's have a look at the 500 millibar pattern. Upcoming 5 days looks like this here, with the low always to the west, higher pressure always centered to the east. Play through the loop here, you can see that the high builds in, like the CFSV2, builds in over pretty much the UK and Ireland and kind of holds its ground through the majority of the rest of this month. Precipitation wise, you can see here it's generally a drier than average theme once we lose this thundery end to the week, beginning of the upcoming weekend, and generally temperatures are warmer than average. Looking at the ECMWF then, you can see here that as we move towards the Thursday time frame, temperatures are reasonably subdued. In fact, you're only talking about 23, 24 Celsius according to the ECMWF during the course of Thursday. I think this is definitely underdone, but then we move into the Friday time frame, and it's only showing 26, 27 Celsius as a maximum. I think 29, possibly 30 Celsius is possible during the course of Friday afternoon. Then you see here that we hold on to some warmth during the course of Saturday, play through into Sunday, and you're seeing the temperatures coming back down closer to average once again. But as we move towards the middle and second half of next week, long way out. Look at this here, some chilly air actually associated with higher pressure and fresher air moving in. But watch this here as we move towards the end of next week and next weekend. We're seeing some very significant warmth showing up in the model here. Look at this, 31, 32, 33 Celsius. This is a way out the next weekend here, so this is a long way out. But I think there is definitely potential here for more surges of real heat, significant heat. And this is part of the summer forecast. It's part of the June outlook as well. Look at this here, 26, 27, all the way up into the north of the UK. 34 Celsius showing up across the far south of the British Isles. If we look at the 850s then of the ECMWF, you can see that we have got the potential of more warmth. So this is a 15 to 20 Celsius isotherm lifting north through the course of the next few days. Area of low pressure, fresher air to the west here that overlaps that warm humid air, creating that lift, enhanced lift at that. You've got this dynamic weather pattern overall. Continue to play it through, and as we move through the course of next week, there's that fresher air, higher pressure, fresher, cooler nights is going to be the theme. But look at what's happening here. Look at what's brewing off the ECMWF towards that weekend that I was telling you about. Saturday the 21st, Sunday the 22nd of June. We could see some significant heat coming all the way up over the UK towards the final 10 days of the month here. But again, it's fantasy land. It's a long way out. I'm fairly confident that higher pressure is going to be the theme. Drier than average. Some much better weather compared to the first half of June. But there's some very interesting model runs indicating that we could see some really significant heat, record challenging heat at that, if this was remotely true. So I think I've spoken long enough. Hope you're enjoying what you're seeing here in the channel. Content 7 days a week, absolutely free. I hope you can hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done so. And I'll be back again tomorrow with more. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Bye-bye.